Yeah, I'd like to just make a point on framework 7 or framework 6. I agree with Cliff in relation to how long it takes to apply, and it does take a year. The same when we had a framework 6 and we just done a framework 7, which was just one, but it takes that period. And it's wonderful with your upfront money, when you get your upfront money, and it's very, very good with working with a collaborative team. But one word of warning, make sure you make that upfront money last, because the last payment takes also a year to come.
It's down to choosing your consortium correctly, because you go at the speed of your slowest partner.
You're absolutely right. And then you've got the speed of Europe, which is backward based.
I know this goes against my promotion of this programme, and I'm very pro it. I'm very, very pro it, because I see how many people do it and how many people come back for more. I made a joke about that last event, and that went down like a lead balloon, and I won't do that one. But people do come back for more once they start to become more familiar with it. But I can tell you at the moment, I was in one of these consortiums, CSA's project, which was to do with stimulating SMEs in surface transport. The third anniversary of the project is at the end of this month, next week. I'm still waiting for final payment. But that was because of the partners, not because of the commission. The partner, one of the partners, was a French public sector agency who has been terrible.
So, certainly, I mean, personal experience, when we were involved in a few years ago when I was working for myself, it was a relatively modest in overall terms project, but I think my sort of cut was maybe £3,000 or £4,000. But if you've got a big player in who's also in maybe for £10,000, it's not a big deal for them. Whereas as an individual, I think I waited about 2 to 3 years after the end of the project before I got that money. You know, it's quite, it's quite good. You're absolutely right. I think Cliff's absolutely, that's quite good.
I think that was just consulting.
But I mean, I think Cliff's absolutely right. I mean, you know, ideally you sort of be careful you get into bed with, I suppose, but it's not always that easy, is it really?
No.
Sometimes the theme itself dictates who you're going with. But
what happens is in this partner service thing, you'll suddenly get people looking around for partners, and you want to get your project off the ground, and you agree to be part of the partner, and you don't get too choosy about
what is it about marrying in haste and repenting at leisure?
Yeah.
That's not a personal statement, just in case anybody wants to send a message to my wife.
As long as you don't expect any money, it's a wonderful project.
You get the money in there.
No, there are some horror stories, and mine's one of them. But I would say, vast majority of people, as long as they've, as you say, are very clear what they're going into right from the beginning.
That's right.
That they will get this pre-financing, but the next year, you submit your reports and your cost claims, and it may be another 6, 7, 8 months before you get paid that extra year, which is why they were giving you 18 months up front, because it was going to be a minimum of 18 months before you got the next payment.
Quite interesting, actually, Cliff, isn't it? Talking about advance payments. I'm the National Audit Office is beating me over the head at the moment, because one of our schemes in creative industry, very small scheme, £20,000 project, we give 15,000, and we gave the first 7,500 up front, just because otherwise these projects, were small people. And the National Audit Office have sort of castigated me, and they think I'm giving away public money and goodness knows what. So whereas, the European Commission will give quite big chunks of money way up front. Interesting. Yeah. I shall quote that to them when I'm meeting them tomorrow. Before the dock. Any more questions? Or comments or whatever? Or do you all feel sort of moderately comfortable that you know where to go, whether it's sort of regional or national or sort of pan-European? You've seen us, you've seen our emails, so feel free to contact us. So, Mr. Chairman, back to you.
Thank you to Brandon, Jim, and Cliff. Well, I think we're about drawing proceedings to an end. So it's certainly been quite a full day. There's been quite a lot of information in there, and hopefully your energy does seem to have stayed up, and the questions have been quite relevant. I hope you've all found it useful. Certainly, I think the logistics of the meeting have worked really well. We should just to finish off, thank Bournemouth University for hosting us, for Business Link, particularly Christine Wadey for organising the event, the logistics, and making everything run so smoothly. The food couldn't have gone cold. I wasn't sure how. But it seems to have hit reasonable buttons at the start of the day. We put up the kind of objectives that the Regional Development Agency has in the space. Tried to stimulate more investment in R&D, taking opportunities to create value from innovation. I don't think it's addressed that one. But as well as giving information about the instruments that are available, it's shed some light on how the higher education institutions can work effectively with SMEs and with industry, and also the power of networks. So hopefully you've made useful contacts during the day and you can use those in the future. The last thing I'd suggest is on that communication side of things, the RDA and the Science Southwest branding has the website, and it has a newsletter which will have regular updates on events and information and competitions. So I'd urge you to go to the Science Southwest or the Science and Industry Council website and register for that newsletter, then you can be kept up to date. I guess the other thing would be if you could pass on, assuming you've had a good experience and you've recorded it in your feedback form, if you could pass on any value you got from this to colleagues, contacts, friends, your networks, and maybe point them at the website and the newsletter, and then that will just naturally extend our network, and over time it will grow exponentially, and we'll keep improving the kind of value generation in the Southwest. But thank you all once again. Thank you.